a special thanks to BB Abbott for getting this done with us. We worked very hard, talked many, many times on it. Always very special to John Middleton and ownership. I see Jim Buck is here too, for what they do for us to support us. Working through this day in and day out with me and very supportive in making this happen. And the rest of our baseball group, Corinne Landry worked with us too in trying to get this done and accomplishing a great deal. So it's a happy day for us. Rod Tom and Caleb have other things that they wanted to take care of on the field. Figured that we'd handle this and they'll be available later on for comments. So thank you for being here.
Thanks. Zach?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to ownership, Dave, and my agency, and most of all my family, my wife, and she's at home recovering right now. So thank you to her for the support and always being there for me, and my mom and dad, and my brothers. So everybody couldn't do it without them. Coaches along the way, current coaches, and all that. So greatly appreciative, and just happy to be a Philly.
Thank you.
We're happy you're Philly too.
All right, thanks. So with that, we can start with questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. There's a microphone on my right with Dylan, and there's one on the left. And you can start over here in the middle with Jason.
Dave, you're basically paying Zach what Cy Youngs and future Hall of Famers are receiving in the game. What does that say about what you think he's accomplished these last 4 years as a Philly?
Well, you're right about that, what we're paying him. And there's a couple of guys out there that are really at the top of the level. But what it's telling us is that we think Zach is as good as anybody in baseball right now. I think a little bit different scenarios when you look maybe length of their careers, where they're more so what they accomplished earlier in their careers at young pitchers, and then continue to do that. But for us right now, when we look over the last handful of years, we think Zack Wheeler is as fine a pitcher in the game of baseball. He's coming out at a time in which he was a free agent at the end of the year. He'd been younger than those individuals. I preferred working on a shorter term deal rather than a longer term deal, which fit for both us and for him. So it tells you that we think he's one of the best pitchers in the game of baseball, and we could make an argument when we start talking in the very beginning. I talked to BB and we start talking about it. I said, well, let's establish right now he's one of the best pitchers in baseball. Is he first, second, third? We don't have to get into that, but he's one of the best. And the reality is, when you start not only talking about being one of the best pitchers, one of the best big game pitchers in the game of baseball. So in the postseason, when he takes that ball, I can't think of anybody that would rather have taken the mound than Zach.
Zach, can I just follow up by asking you basically the same thing? What do you think this contract says about what you've accomplished since you've been in Philadelphia?
I don't know. I mean, I just try to take the ball every time out and just be consistent and be consistently good. I got to give credit to the training staff keeping me out there on the field, and working with Caleb, our pitching coach. He's helped me out a ton, off speed wise, and to kind of just take me to that next level, and just doing it consistently, and in season, postseason. I love those big moments, and I don't know. I really just enjoy being here in Philly. The fans are the best, and playing in Citizens Bank in October, there's nothing like it.
Alex, over here on the left.
Last time we talked to you, Zach, you talked about how important it was to feel happy, for your family to be happy here, and I was wondering what it is about this organization that's enabled you to find that happiness.
Yeah, I mean, it's just first class all the way, and they really take care of our families, and put that effort in to make them comfortable and happy, and that that makes us happy as players, because we're at the field all day. They're taking care of the family, and it just makes our life easier, and like I said, it's just first class, and wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
Right.
Zach, when you went into this, how much did you have to think about how much longer do I want to pitch? Because I know you're 33 going on 34, not like 38, 39, but we presume that guys want to pitch, into their late 30s. Do you want, how much did you have to decide, like, how long do I want to do this?
Yeah, I do enjoy pitching, and I want to be here. I love competing. but, you know, I don't want to play until I'm old, and I want to be around my family. And but I'm definitely, you know, enjoying the moment here, and, you know, enjoying every moment I take the mound. And, you know, it's special. Not everybody gets to do it. Not everybody gets to do it as long as I have so far. And, you know, I'm grateful for that.
And just to follow, it's not every pitcher who's, you know, early 30s or better than their late 20s performance-wise. Why do you think you're a better pitcher now maybe than you were, you know, when pitchers are typically, quote-unquote, in their prime?
Sure. I think, you know, just being healthy. And like I said, you know, just giving credit to Paul, or our trainer that I work with every single day, you know, for an hour or two, whatever it is. And, you know, he's just keeping me on the field. And like I said, Caleb, he's just kind of taking my game to the next step. And, you know, just being consistent every time out. You know, I haven't always had that consistency, whether it be, you know, command-wise or inning to inning, game to game. You know, I just feel like I'm in the right spot right now, and I'm able to go out there and just do well every time.
So it sounds like from the very beginning you told BB and a shorter term deal is what you were looking for. At no point where you're like, let's talk 7-8 years. Is that correct?
Correct. You know, I think, you know, just my outlook on it, like I said, I don't want to be old and out there, maybe not doing my best, what I'm used to doing, pitching-wise. And, you know, I think it works out for me. I think it works out for the team. And I think we're all in agreement on that.
And the player can kind of steer negotiations in a sense. Did you make it clear that you wanted something to get done this spring?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'd rather it happen now than go to free agency, and who knows what's going to happen. So, you know, I'm happy, like I said, in Philly, and it's first-class organization, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, especially pitching in October and Citizens Bank.
And then, Dave, how does this, moving forward, beginning in 2025 when his contract begins, how does this affect future payroll, future roster construction with the AAV, what it is? I mean, what can you say about that?
Well, we have a high payroll, as you know. Ownership has been appreciative. I mean, we're very appreciative of what they give us. We set that parameters on a yearly basis. We're also very supportive. Our fans have been great. They come through the gates, and great sponsorship and in that regard, so we drive revenues, and that's always a challenge. There's a limit on how much we can do. It's not unlimited. But those will be questions I think we'll face more at the end of the year once we see how our season progresses. We looked at it in different ways. There are challenges because, again, there are certain parameters. But the way I look at it is, okay, we'll take those challenges when we know we can start off with the top of the rotation of Wheeler and Nola. And we have other good pitchers that we like with Suarez and Walker and Sanchez, as we think is coming to another level. And we have some good young pitching behind them with guys like Abel and Painter being ready next year. Figure let's tackle that at the end of the year, and we'll see where it takes us. But sure, there'll be some challenges, but it's a good place to start.
Zach, it's going to end up being now a total of 8 years. So halfway through that, just how has the experience of being a Philly measured up to what you would have hoped for or expected?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I always loved playing in Philly. When I was a visitor playing, you know, growing up in Atlanta, you know, watching the Braves play the Phillies all the time, the crowd was always amazing. And like I said, it's just like no other. And, you know, the fans bring, you know, the atmosphere to the ballpark, and we just feed off of that. And, you know, like I said, I've enjoyed my time here, and I look forward to, you know, 4 more years.
And just Dave, Zach mentioned the health aspect of the last few years. What makes you confident that he will continue to age and be able to perform at this level as he gets to, you know, approach the mid-30s?
Well, he has been healthy over the last few years. He works hard at it. I think probably, I can't speak from his own mindset, but from our mindset, he continues to mature as far as getting ready, know what his body needs to be prepared. He's worked very hard at that in the wintertime as well as in during the season when he comes into here in spring training. Our training staff, Paul Buchheit, our conditioning people with Morgan Gregory, speak on how he's continued to grow and how they've been able to work with him in that regard. He's got a good delivery. It's a sound delivery. So when you look at a lot of the parameters, of course, we went through a complete physical. I'm sure that he would prefer to not be tortured with as many tests as he has to go through, but the physicals were great. I mean, even to the point where, in some ways, because of what he's done, better than they were before. So we know pitching is a risk at any age. I mean, you can look at Andrew Painter, who's a youngster, and something happens to him. But because of all those reasons, we think he knows himself well, works well with the training staff, and we think that he can continue to last and pitch at this type of level.
Zach, can you walk us through what the past week has been like with your third child being born and then contract negotiations?
Yeah,
Picking up.
It's been busy, that's for sure. You know, like I said, credit to my wife. She's the best wife I could ever ask for, and you know, she allows me to do this, and you know, she's patient with me, and you know, it's just been a great week for me, great week for my family, and just gonna be happier.
And the girl was born what day, and the agreement was reached what day?
Yeah, I think it was 3 days apart, something like that. So it was definitely busy.
Any additional questions? Okay, back over here on the right, first with Scott, and then Jason.
Dave, I'm just curious. You weren't here right when Zack signed the first time. When you got here and you got to watch him pitch every day, as opposed to just seeing him from the other side here or there, and in the other league, no less. What was was there something about him that where you went, wow, this guy is better than I even thought? Or, was there something that struck you when you got around him every day and saw him pitch?
Well, I was very thankful. I mean, I remember, though, when John Middleton called me originally about the job, and I was talking to a couple people, and I said, you look at different organizations where they are. I'm a believer, you have to have a great organization, a lot of good players in order to win. But if you don't have good starting pitching, you're going to be in trouble. And I said, it's a really good place to start when you have people like Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola in your organization at that time for an extended period. So it's true, and I would even see better than anticipated. It's interesting, though, when you've been in the game for a while. I remember our draft room conversations on him. And one of our most respected scouts that I've ever been around for pitching was a guy by the name of Dick Egan. And Dick Egan said, I'm telling you, that Zack Wheeler's going to be a star. He's going to be a star. And he was, I think, the 6th pick were you that year? We didn't have a chance to select him. He was gone by the time we would. But he was talking, and he absolutely loved him. So it's interesting when you go back through your time period, you remember conversations like that people have had, and you always follow them, and his career has spoken for itself.
Zach, there's a responsibility that goes with a contract like this, any big contract. I'm curious how you think your ability to perform and live up to that responsibility over the last contract, the current contract, will prepare you for doing that with this contract.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely pressure, especially being in Philadelphia. It's a tough place to play, and I think coming from New York, it's also a tough place to play. So you're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have your bad games, bad innings. You might get booed here and there, booed off the field, but it's part of the game. You take that in and use that as motivation and just try to build off of that because you don't want that to happen again. And, there is pressure to live up to the contract, but, if you take care of what you need to, hopefully it will take care of itself on the field and the performance.
All right. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Dave. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Great
Thank you.
job. Congratulations.
Thank you.